Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? The United States, I think, is on the brink of just about ready to make a aid invasion of Venezuela. I have reports coming to me from different sources, from folks that are formerly in the intel community of the Army and other forces that are saying that information is that there is going to be an American invasion of aid if Maduro does not back down. And this could happen, folks, within the next 48 hours. Now, we have reports, different reports are coming in. Obviously, it's a very fluid situation. One report is that, of course, Maduro's military, some of his top brass, has defected, and they are now on the same side with interim President Juan Guaido, who is backed by the United States, almost all of Latin America, and all of Europe primarily. All he's got on his side is really the Russians and the Chinese, and that's from a distance. They just want to get paid. Venezuela's military said yesterday that it was on high alert as its frontiers forwarding threats by U.S. President Donald Trump and suspended air and sea links to the surrounding islands just off the coast of Venezuela ahead of a planned aid shipment. Opposition leader and self-declared interim President Juan Guaido has vowed to bring aid into the various points on Saturday, as he quotes it, one way or another, despite military efforts to try to block him. Now, he does have some of the Venezuelan military on his side, but the one way or another is really the United States of America, and the help of the Colombians, and the help of the Brazilians, and also the help of the British, and the help of the Israelis. Now, I'm getting this information again. This could be verified. You could verify this, but commanders have doubled down on the allegiance to President Nicolas Maduro after President Trump urged him to abandon them. They said abandon him because he's not going to be in power. The armed forces will remain deployed and on alert along the borders to avoid any violations of territorial integrity, according to Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino. But Regional Commander Vladimir Quintero later confirmed media reports that Venezuela had ordered the suspension of air and sea links along the islands nearby, the Netherlands islands, also Aruba and Bonaire. Shipments of food and medicine for Venezuelans suffering in this country's economic crisis after this complete socialist societal breakdown, as socialism has failed miserably. You would think that somebody would get this information to Bernie Sanders and maybe others on the left who do not understand how horrible a failure socialism is. But shipments of food and medicine to Venezuelans are suffering everywhere now. And of course, Maduro's trying to prevent this aid getting to his people. Because if the aid gets to the people, he loses power to Juan Guaido, who's been able to get the world to back him to get the aid to the people. Are you serious? Are you serious? But wait, I have more information. I do have information that the United States is prepared to go in and to make this happen, folks. Now, Cuba is denying that its military is in Venezuela, charging that the United States is making ready to make its own intervention. Out of Havana, Cuba is denying that it has sent its security forces into Venezuela to help Maduro. And they're saying, look, this is an orchestrated campaign of lies that are being paving the way for a military invention into that South American country, they said. U.S. President Donald Trump and members of the administration have charged that Cuba has sent in security forces and military control of Venezuela and that the troops are also on the ground there. Quote, our government categorically and energetically rejects this slander, said Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez. He said this at a Havana press conference, adding all of the some 20,000 Cubans in Venezuela are there for health professionals only. We're not buying that, though, guys. The Americans are not buying this. As a matter of fact, Rodriguez called on the United States administration to produce the proof that the Cuban military is there. There's a big political and communication campaign underway, which is usually the prelude to a larger actions by this government. Well, let me just say something. If Cuba doesn't want to be known that they're there, let's say Cuba is telling the truth. Let's just say they're saying, look, we didn't put any forces there. We're not there trying to help Venezuela. Why are they saying that? Because they know that Venezuela has already lost. They know there's no chance for Venezuela. And they don't want to look like they were helping Venezuela. So in other words, Cuba has just turned its back on Venezuela, which was only one of the last remaining nations in the world that were still trying to stand with Maduro. So whether the Cuban military is present or not, Cuba is already washing their hands of Nicolas Maduro. I would say the truth is, of the 20,000 Cubans that are in that country, some of them are certainly military support. Some may be humanitarian support, but I doubt that very little. They've got enough humanitarian issues in the island nation of Cuba. They don't really have anything to spare. So it could be a little bit of military support. But one thing's for sure, it doesn't matter. Cuba is letting the United States know they're not involved. They don't want to be blamed. They're getting out of the way. And they're also saying to Maduro, we have to wash our hands of you. Folks, in the next 48 hours, it's supposed to all go down on Saturday, but look for something prior to that. Within the next 48 hours, I'm saying look for a U.S. intervention into Venezuela on behalf of the Venezuelan people. Also helping the U.S. will probably be the Colombians. And also coming in from the other side will probably be the Brazilians getting help, at least strategically and operationally, from the Israelis. Look, and the British, and the British, and the British. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. We are living in dangerous times. The Bible said in the last days there'll be wars and rumors of wars. And folks, this is what you're seeing. I'll be back with more. Are you serious?